So I think it's going to sign.
As chairman of the Council on Tall Buildings, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to Tim Johnson, who leads our award ceremony and who has actually put together and led the awards group that has come up with the recipients of tonight's awards. So I'd like to pass over straight to Tim Johnson from MBBJ. Details of the awards are actually contained in this brochure, which is on your tables, and also details of the next Council's World Congress that will be held in Dubai next year are also on your table. So I look forward to seeing many of you there, and I will see you later in the ceremony tonight. So let me hand over to Tim Johnson. Please give him a warm welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Last year I was also a part of this effort, and I made a statement: be careful what you wish for. And I had referenced a conversation I had with David where he had asked me to be part of the awards committee, and I took that on and I enjoyed it thoroughly. And the next words of wisdom would be careful how well you do it, because the better you do it, the more they'll ask you to do it again. So I've been asked to do this again, and frankly honored again, because certainly sitting in this room are some of the titans of our industry that believe in tall buildings and the urban habitat. So to sit here and stand here in front of this group to announce our award winners is quite an honor. One of the things that I think was important, a couple of things, just to give you some insight from the committee that we selected to review the awards, is that there was a tremendous amount of excitement and enthusiasm for nominees for the Lynn Beadle Award and the Fosler Kahn Award, and it shows that we're obviously in a time frame, in a period in our industry that's unprecedented. And certainly to award these people tonight is something that I think we can all feel is very special within our lives. The other thing that we did this year is we added 2 additional awards. Obviously the Lifetime Achievement Awards are for individuals, but this year we've also added 2 additional awards, which for buildings, one for the best tall building and one for the best sustainable tall building. And as I mentioned in our steering group meeting today, I'm hoping that in the near future we can combine those 2 awards, knowing that sustainability is such a big part of high-rise design and tall buildings. And I'm glad we all agree. Thank you for endorsing that. The other unique perspective that we brought together with the 2 building awards was the idea of the team effort. And from my opinion, the era of the Renaissance man is behind us, and the era of the Renaissance team is in front of us. So although we will give, the technology surrounds us, as you can hear. But seriously, the world in front of us is about the teams that produce these great projects that we are going to award tonight. And I think what we'll hear from the award winners is how important the overall team was in creating these projects.
It's quite a challenge how you keep the past so that it evokes memories. People who come in here sort of say, oh, you know, I remember that window, that was my office, but in a complete recreation, so it is new. And in that sense, it is unlike anything that we've seen before. Like any of the buildings, this one is it's a one-off, it's unique. I mean, from the outside, there is a natural break point, there is a setback, and that demarcates the base of the building, which in a way now re-establishes its relationship with the sidewalk, brings that to life with shops. And this is, in a way, the principal level, a recreated principal level. And by gutting this space, this becomes, in a way, the meeting point of the 2 worlds. The public world, who are invited in here from time to time, the visitors, and the community of Hearst. Solid part of the tower, which conventionally is always in the middle of the office space, here has been pushed right to the back. So that allows a lot of the things that we experience here and also higher up the tower to happen. So we have this generosity of space, which you would never get in a conventional building. You always have this feeling of a good orientation when you come out of the elevator. The space, which is the continuation of the lobby out to the facade, is always clear. You always know where you are on the office floor. I think you always expect the mood of the building to change with the time of day. One of perhaps the surprises is that the range of those changes is much greater than we anticipated. The way in which at certain, perhaps late in the day, the stainless steel surfaces within this space start to take on the kind of coloration of the walls and the stone. And then in the morning, it's it's a completely different scene. The form works quite interestingly socially on the office floors, in the sense that the corners are the most dramatic points for the view. They're either tilting out, in which case you get this combination of the horizon and almost the plan of the street, or they're tilting back, which gives greater emphasis to the sky. In the way that we've all worked together on the planning, we've respected that the greatest views from the corners are always public to that space. In other words, they've not been taken over by somebody's office, but they're for everybody to share. Really, the architectural framework, which really just captures the view. And there isn't a bad view, It's New York.
I believe this next recipient is also very much a part of that. Was the discussion that we had at the jury level. The Fazlur Rahman Khan Medal Award for 2007 goes to Dr. Farzad Naeem. Let me say a few words. The fundamentals that I'm speaking about, most of you that have done seismic design in buildings have probably come across one of the multitude of articles that Dr. Naeem has contributed to the profession of structural design and high-rise design. He is a principal at John Martin Associates in Los Angeles, and certainly has contributed to all aspects of structural design, certainly in the state of California and beyond, where he has won numerous awards. And I find this a very illustrating fact that for the Los Angeles Tall Building Structural Design Council Outstanding Journal Paper Award 5 times from 1996 to 2006, it's certainly an honor that every other year, essentially, the work has been contributing to all of our knowledge in all of our disciplines in the areas of structural design and seismic design. So I'd like to honor Dr. Naeem, certainly for his ingenuity, his contribution to our profession, and as I know his family is also here to see him. I see a peace sign from his daughter. Peace to everyone, I agree. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm a short person, so I have to adjust the speaker. It's a great honor for me to receive this award. No other award comes close to this one in my heart, because I vividly remember when I started studying structural engineering as a graduate student, I came across Fazlur Khan's publications, the papers and the reports that he had. And each time I reviewed each one of them, I told myself, wow, such a great, intelligent, brilliant man this guy is. I really want to be like him when I grow up. I really don't think I ever achieved that purpose, because in my opinion, Fazlur Khan was one of a kind, a person that rarely comes around more than once in every generation. But receiving an award that has his name on it has a very special meaning to me. And in addition to that, being mentioned in the same sentence with previous recipients of this award, people like Leslie Robertson and Hal Yingor, is a tremendous honor for me. So I thank you and thank the council, the award committee for giving me this honor. I thank my family who's here, my partner in life, the light of my eyes, Fariba, my daughter Mana, and my son Mahan. I thank you very much. We'd like to move now to the 2 building awards. I'd like to invite Anthony Wood up to
give the first building award.
Okay, good evening everyone. I think Tim's already touched on this, but I just want to highlight it. This is our 6th annual awards. The first 5 annual awards went to Lifetime Achievement. People who dedicated their lives to some aspect of tall building and through the Council on Tall Buildings received some recognition for it. This year we have expanded those awards. And I think it's very important to just understand why. The 2 new awards that we're presenting tonight, the inaugural editions of those awards, are the Best Tall Building and the Best Sustainable Tall Building. And what they're essentially doing is recognizing 2 things. They're recognizing excellence in tall buildings, and they're also recognizing the team achievement in tall buildings. Now, I have to state at the beginning of me talking a little bit about the Beetham Tower that I had absolutely nothing to do with the award of the Beetham Tower, or the Best Tall Building Award for Beetham Tower. That was Tim and his committee. However, I now have to disclose to you that this building exists in my home city, and people who recognise English accents amongst you will know that I am from Manchester. And I can talk very personally about this building. My first official encounter with it was about 3 years ago. I was an academic at the University of Nottingham in the UK. And the building was about 80% complete, and we contacted Mark Connolly and Ian Simpson at the Beetham organisation and Ian Simpson Architects, and we set up a tour, a student tour to go and tour this building. And at the time I was in Nottingham, I remember arriving on the outskirts of Manchester from an easterly direction with a coach of 24 students. And it's going to be difficult for me to get across to you what an absolute sea change in Manchester this building represents. This is not a high-rise city. This is a building that perhaps has, prior to this building, 4 or 5 tall buildings through virtue of height, but not a great deal of quality in terms of tall buildings. I hail from the east side of Manchester, a district that Ian and Mark and perhaps 1 or 2 other people know, Ashton-under-Lyne, Hyde. It's not the most salubrious side of Manchester. And this building is absolutely evident from about 10, 12 miles outside the city centre. When you drop down from the Pennines, you see this building standing up proud in the centre of Manchester, and it's an amazing thing. The slenderness ratio of this building from on the edge of the Pennines is, from a tall building perspective, even though from an American perspective it's not especially tall, it is an incredible slenderness ratio. This building innovates in several different ways. The double skin facade to the south of the building, the different reaction to the north of the building, respecting the environmental difference between the different facades of the building, I think is a great lesson in tall buildings. The way that it innovates in fire engineering, to all those people that are engaged currently in the issues of how we respond to 9/11, how we respond to fire escape in tall buildings, and the predominant direction that maybe we should be introducing 3 fire escapes in tall buildings. This is the tallest residential building in the UK. It's a very tall residential building in Europe. It has 1 fire stair from the predominant residential accommodation on top of the hotel accommodation. And it does this, it achieves this, it complies with fire regulations through a completely innovative system of meeting the performance criteria associated with the fire regulations. It's a completely unique building. There is a cantilever at the upper level, the residential over the hotel. There are oval floor lights cut into this building where you can actually walk over those and see down 20 odd stories to the Manchester streetscape below. It's, as I said, it's a unique landscape on the urban landscape of Manchester, and it is my absolute pleasure to announce to you that the inaugural Best Tall Building Award goes to the Beetham Corporation for the Beetham Hilton Tower. What I didn't announce is that these two towers looking suspiciously like the New York World Trade Center towers are awards for the best tall building and best sustainable tall building. But they're rather heavy, so we will not actually hand this over to Mark tonight. But I give you Mark, who's going to say a few words about the Beetham Tower.
Thank you, Anthony, for the kind words. With the aid of a video and some hand notes, I'm going to talk you through the building. Contemporary, iconic, landmark, dominant. These are some of the words that have been used to describe the Beetham Hilton Tower in Manchester. Its clean lines, its uniquely distinctive form have quickly become synonymous with Manchester, as Anthony said, and it dominates the skyline from all around. Innovative construction techniques and the use of post-tension concrete allowed it to be constructed quickly and safely. Other systems within the building include mist fire suppression system, used for the first time in the UK. An energy-efficient communal heating system supplies heating throughout the building. It has an on-site electricity power plant. In architectural contrast, and yet in balance with its historic surroundings, the tower stands as a beacon and an icon guiding all to the centre of the city. Generous space and sense of arrival awaken all of the senses, ensuring the guest experience is one to be remembered. The imposing scale of the tower, as a guest gazes to the top of it, is truly awesome. The interior design of the public areas is light and contemporary, and the creative use of materials from the external facade is carried through to the interior, creating a single space. The connectivity between the reception and function spaces provide movement and activity at all times. The podium, which houses 600 capacity ballroom, bars and restaurants, was uniquely fire engineered to allow the structural steelwork to be installed without fire protection. Cloud 23, situated on level 23, is the highest and the most fashionable bar in the city. The bar is a regular of the football stars and all the celebs. Amazing structural engineering allows the building to stand, and the dramatic 4-metre cantilever to every floor from level 23 upwards forms part of the residential levels. This extends to the crystalline blade that forms the top. Glass lenses within the floor of the bar allows the brave to peer down to the streets below. Quality was paramount, and the view across the building, evening in Manchester, is one to be savoured. Whilst this kind of development is common in the US, mixed-use residential developments are a relatively new concept in the UK. We have provided 219 quality living spaces, with the entire top floor forming a single opulent penthouse. Sustainability was top of the agenda during the early design phases, and the challenge was to provide energy-efficient solutions whilst delivering the architectural vision. Amazingly, these apartments in the glass building do not have air conditioning. The combination of a winter garden and the southern facade and the clever ventilation systems render it unnecessary. The brief to combine a quality hotel and the highest residential living space in the UK has been a complete success, and its challenges overcome by the design team. I'd like to take this opportunity to pay particular thanks to Ian Simpson Architects, WSP Cantasonic, WSP MEP and WSP Fire for their expertise, faith and vision in designing and constructing this fantastic building. And on behalf of the Beetham organisation and all involved in the delivery of this project, I'd like to thank the Council for Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat for awarding the Beetham Hilton Tower this year's Best Tall Building. This is a wonderful accolade and truly a great honour. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Actually, just going back to the bit I mentioned at the beginning about this is a Team Achievement Award, we thank Mark very much for coming up and saying a few words about the Beetham Tower. But actually, we do want to recognise the Team Achievement in this award. So I would ask to come to the stage just to receive a rather nice certificate that we put together. 5 of the team members. The Beetham organisation, the main contractor Carillion, the architect Ian Simpson from Ian Simpson Architects, the structural engineer WSP Cantor Signer, and the mechanical, electrical and plumbing engineer WSP Buildings.
We could do, yeah.
Ian really doesn't want to say a few words, but he's not normally the shy and retiring type, and he's a Manchester lad, so I'm insisting that he says at least a few words about the building, if nobody minds. Ian?
Okay, thank you. It's interesting, Manchester's got both awards this evening. Norman was born in Manchester, you might have noticed. It's a great honour to receive an award like this. I'm probably on my 20th hour since my flight from London Heathrow this morning, so I'm a little bit tired. But my partner and I, Rachel Huff, is with me this evening, and I'd just like to say thank you on behalf of the whole team, really, who's worked very hard. And we're working on a whole number of projects, of which this is probably the second. And there's some very exciting projects to come with the Beetham organisation in London that are fantastically dramatic and very sustainable. And it's an architecture that is really something about trying to create something beautiful on the skyline, rather than just trying to create height. But obviously, in a city like Manchester, scale is quite limited. 170 metres doesn't go very far in Chicago. And we'd love to have a chance to do something a little bit taller somewhere else. Thank you.
So I'd like to introduce our last Building and Team Award for this evening. The next award is for the Best Sustainable Tall Building. The project that was selected for this award began really as a quest to create a unique, light-filled, fresh air-filled work environment for its employees. In fact, what it ended up being was a masterpiece high-rise gracing the skyline of Manhattan. This 46-story, 856,000 square foot building used 20% less structural steel and contained in that steel 90% recycled material. The building uses 26% less energy than a building designed to the standard codes of today, which is equivalent to taking about 215 cars off of the road per year. Collects and reuses rainwater, and is naturally ventilated for nearly 75% of the year. What a great statement for the things that we need to all achieve in the very, very near future. The building was also the first in New York City to receive the gold LEED rating for its performance. And you will know by now, certainly if you've read anything at your table or read the council news, the building I'm referring to is the Hearst Tower in New York City. So I'd like to invite Brian Schregel, who has been absolutely instrumental in supporting the vision of sustainable design for this project, up to the podium. Brian?
We have a little movie on the project that will introduce you to the project, and then we're going to invite the project members to come up.
Rising out of Joseph Urban's landmark 1928 Hearst headquarters on 57th Street and 8th Avenue, The new Hearst Tower redefines sustainable design and high-performance architecture in New York City. Designed by Pritzker Prize-winning British architect Lord Norman Foster, this unique marriage of structures embodies Hearst Corporation's visionary commitment to both traditional media and new technologies. And yet, it is so much more. The tower is the most environmentally friendly office building in New York City's history, earning New York's first gold rating in leadership in energy and environmental design from the U.S. Green Building Council. For New York, the benefits include significant reductions in pollution and increased conservation of the city's vital resources. For Hearst employees and visitors, it means a healthier, more inviting, and more productive working environment. Hearst's environmental commitment was evident at every stage of the tower's construction, top to bottom, inside and out. During the demolition of the original 6-story structure's interior in 2004, Hearst collected and separated recyclable materials, including over 170 tons of steel. In the end, over 80% of the original structure was recycled for future use. Hearst Tower's eye-catching yet load-bearing diagrid structure, the first of its kind in North America, allowed Hearst to use approximately 2,000 fewer tons of steel than the typical office building.
That triangular structure recurs through nature and is a very elegant structure. The tower is designed to float above this historic base.
The tower also features an innovative type of exterior glass with low emittance coating that allows the interior to be flooded with natural light while blocking the invisible radiation that causes heat. Inside, the floors are designed to maximize natural light, while special light sensors control the amount of artificial light needed throughout the day. All workspaces are also equipped with motion sensors to automatically turn off lights and equipment. The result is a light-filled, comfortable, and inviting workspace with 22% higher energy efficiency than a typical office building. Hearst Tower is also pioneering new ways to conserve and recycle water. The roof has been designed to collect rainwater and harvest it in a massive 14,000-gallon reclamation tank in the basement, which replaces water lost to evaporation in the climate systems, irrigates plantings and trees, and feeds Icefall, the dazzling 3-story sustainable waterfall, which also serves to humidify and cool the atrium. Hearst Corporation has been an integral part of New York City for more than 100 years. And with its emphasis on architectural innovation, modern technology, and sustainable design, the new Hearst Tower ensures a very bright future indeed.
You can tell about a society by looking at the architecture that was created during that period.
One of the most important things we can do for our children is to invest more in clean energy technologies and energy conservation measures. And the Hearst Corporation has gone out of their way to make sure that this is a fully green building.
Hearst Tower. Not just a better skyline, a better sky.
Well, I'm exceptionally proud to accept this award on behalf of the Hearst Corporation and our CEO, Victor Ganzi. They had a vision to build not just a corporate tower, but to look upon this project as a home renovation. These are our employees. We treat them like family, and that's very important to understand when you're talking about sustainable buildings. If you're going to build the best building possible, if you're going to add something extraordinary to the skyline, if you're forevermore going to make an imprint, not only for your corporation, but for generations to come, why wouldn't you build the most sustainable building possible? So the team that I'm going to invite up here shortly, they helped me do that because I knew nothing about that. All I had was an idea, and I benchmark against location, workspace, environments, years of study in terms of security. This is the most secure tower possible in New York City post 9/11. Technology, that there isn't, you can't imagine the type of money that went into the technology related to this building, whether it's the elevators, the IT, the AV. We are a media company, for example. But what really drove the argument was not to just buy the latest whiz-bang item that was in the marketplace, but to buy something that was going to make a difference to our employees, that was going to make them a better place to work, that was going to say that we valued them as human beings and that we valued our neighbors in terms of what we were going to place on the skyline of New York City. And I think we achieved that. And it's not by the awards that we get, and we're exceptionally proud of the award that we're receiving today. What greater honor can you get but to receive the first sustainable award from this council? That's an amazing achievement. But the greatest achievement that we got is the pat on the back every day by the employee that loves coming to work, that says they're in the building that has the cleanest air possible, that says that they value them as an employee, that they value the planet that they live on and use recycled materials wherever possible. And we know that we're not going to be the last green project on this earth or the greatest green project on this earth, but we're very proud tonight to be your award recipient and to be the most sustainable building that we're achieving here and this council. And I want to invite up our people that worked on this as a team to tell us how to build this project. First and foremost, Tishman Speyer. Pat Shields is here, and I'd like to invite him up. This building couldn't have been built without Pat Shields and Bruce Phillips and Tom Farrell and the whole team from Tishman Speyer. This was the first sustainable project that they ever built, but I understand from David Paquette, their sustainability director, that they have 15 projects going forward on the global scale for sustainable projects going forward. Black and Prince, of course, are mechanical engineers. They came up with the idea of how to put this together in a sustainable way, and we're very honored tonight to have David Cooper and Joe Del Pozo with us, and I'd ask them to come up today to help us receive the award. Ilan from Cantor Scenic. Cantor Scenic had an amazing feat. How are they going to make this building above a building? Something that wasn't done in New York City, and I don't know if it'll ever be done before. We had to build over a landmark structure, and they came up with this great structure of how to brace the building in an innovative way, and it turns out that it helps the environment at the same time, and in a post-9/11 world, it's actually structurally stronger, and that's an amazing feat that Bjorn worked on today. And last but not least, Foster and Partners, and Michael Wurtzel, he should come up here. Foster and Partners, I joke, we traveled the world and we interviewed all the best architects all over the world, Japanese, German, American, French, Italian. We ended up picking Foster and Partners, and we knew from the start that there was a relationship there, that they got us and we got them. And from every meeting that we were in, there was a dialogue that took place. And they understood how important it was to achieve the very best product for the Hearst Corporation and their employees. And we value them immensely, and they achieved a great product here that we all can be proud of. So together we accept this award, and we say thank you very much to the Council of Tall Buildings and Urban Habitats. Thank you.
One more round of applause for the team for the Hearst Corporation.
Somehow I think we should go like this, right? That's what they do in the U.S. Open. Thank you.
As in years past, the way that we've wrapped up our awards program is to recognize not only people that have contributed substantially to the design and the implementation of tall buildings around the world, but have also contributed to the council itself. And so I want to turn it over to David Scott, who will induct this year's fellows to the council.
So I'm very pleased to honour tonight a friend and colleague of mine, Les Robertson, who has been involved in some of the most interesting new different buildings around the world, particularly the World Trade Center, also the Bank of China, also the Puerta de Europa, and these have changed the way in which we've looked at structural design. So many of you know Les, and I'd like you to put your hands together and welcome and congratulate him for being this year's one of two fellows that we've announced this year for the Council on Tall Buildings.
Well, there are some folks here who have been involved in the council longer than me, but I suspect very few of you, actually. And in recent years, I must say that my contribution has been less than it should be, because I guess like most people who are designing things, we're all extremely busy, and hopefully we're doing good things around the world working with many of you here in this room. And so thank you very much for this honor. I'm delighted.
For those of you from Chicago, our next recipient of the awarding of Fellowship of the Council on Tall Buildings needs no introduction. It's Mr. Chandra Jha. Mr. Chandra Jha has been involved in the council since the 70s. He recently donated 50 books that were published by the council back to the council's library, and he has been involved in such prestigious projects such as the John Hancock Center here in New York and the Ontario Center, 60-story tower. He has been co-chairman of the American Society of Civil Engineers and one of the 100 most distinguished international alumni at IIT. So I'd like you to welcome Mr. Chandra Jha for the second fellowship of Illuminati.
Well, thank you, David, and thank you, the Council, for honoring me. I'm very honored to receive this recognition. It reminds me many of things. I remember the early 70s when the Council started. It was a great excitement, and I'm sure Les will remember, Les Robertson. With the Beadle and Fazlur Khan, it was one of the most exciting things happening. And we were traveling all over the world trying to increase the membership and the chapters and so forth. And it was in mid-80s, later on, Council was having ups and downs. And the excitement was not that great. But it was the Lynn Beadle which kept going in spite of many disappointments. And we were struggling, and until very recently, and I'm very pleased and really happy to see the new leadership and the council moving in the right direction. I see the same excitement, and I'm very happy about it. And thank you, Scott, and thank you, Anthony. You are doing a great job.
Thank you, Chandra. I think that today many of you here are a testimony to the excitement, interest and passion that we all have about tall building design, tall building construction. I am very proud to be part of this council. I think that we have got a great future and many things that we need to make better than the past. I'd like to hand over to Anthony, who will say a few closing remarks. Thank you all very much for coming here. Thank you particularly for the steering group who have flown across the world to be here tonight.
Okay, don't worry too much, we're almost done here. Yeah, all these people are getting up and down, even I'm getting dizzy. We're almost done. I just wanted to conclude with a couple of remarks. Actually, it's very interesting to hear what Chandra had to say there, because the council was formed 38 years ago. It was formed in 1969, and it was formed very much on the back of the technical and design innovations that went into the Sears Tower, the Hancock Tower, and other Chicago and global projects that were prevalent at the time. Now, I'm sure that most people sat on these tables, even more so than I, recognize that we are in an exceptional period of growth in terms of tall buildings internationally. Perhaps even an unprecedented period of growth in terms of tall buildings on a global level. We at the Council on Tall Buildings have most certainly benefited from that. We believe, and you will see in your awards brochure tonight, that we have most, not all, but most of the world's leading organizations that are driving that, from a client, developer, construction, architect, engineer, blah, 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 from. I want to draw your attention to just one thing. And you all have a lovely green brochure in your packs tonight, if you haven't seen this. This are the plans for our Dubai Congress, which will take place between the 3rd and the 5th of March 2008 in Dubai, which is why we call it our Dubai Congress. It will be the 8th World Congress. We have a conference every year. We have a congress every 5 years. A congress is a major gathering. What that says is that the people that feel that they're the movers and the shakers and have something to say about tall buildings are gathered in one spot, once every 4 or 5 years. Look at the program. I've been involved with the council for the past 5 years now. Started as a speaker at a conference and kind of moved up to the position that I'm in now. We have, I better say, 100% of papers in for the Dubai Congress. There will be a 750-page proceeding printed with this Congress. It is not a speaker conference. It's about recording and dissemination of information, which is what the council does. Look at the program, and I think you will recognize that most of the key people that are making it happen in tall buildings, whether that is in design, whether it's in structural engineering, whether it's in urban habitat, whether it's in fire engineering, whatever the discipline, are going to be represented at this Congress. If you're not all registered for this Congress already, and I know that at least some of you aren't, then I would strongly encourage you to consider joining us in 5 months' time in Dubai, because this will be a key gathering of everyone involved in the field of tall buildings. That's all I want to say as the concluding remarks. I thank you all. This has been an exceptional gathering tonight for the 4 awards and the 2 fellows. Slight point of technicality. We have organised a, what do we call it, Jerry? A coach, a bus? What do you call it in America? I don't know. It's a big thing with 4 wheels, and it's going to come out of the back there, and it's going to take people downtown at 10 o'clock, because taxis are a little hard to come by this time of night down here. So anybody who wants to jump on the coach to go downtown and perhaps get a taxi from there, wherever you're going, then that's going to be out the back, arriving about 10 o'clock. Not to finish on a point of technicality, and David's throwing daggers at me, we've had an exceptional steering group meeting today. 36 people have travelled from all around the world to share their comments on where they think the Council on Tall Buildings is going to be going over the next 10 years. So a lot of you have just joined the dinner tonight, but certainly the 36 people that have been around a big table today are very pumped up in terms of what we're going to be delivering in the next few months and years. So I would urge you all, for some it's their first taste of the council, to get involved at some level, and perhaps the starting point for that is to join us in Dubai. So thank you.